Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. 2025 is underway. You don't want to make the mistakes of 2024. Where are you making those mistakes? Document management, print cost. Bring them down.
Save money. Save your business. Get ready for those taxes. I'm having existential dread over here. A lot of existential dread lately.
When do we get our W-2, by the way?
It's a K1 that we get.
We get a K1?
Yes.
I don't remember this from last year. Last year was a blur. What are you freaking out about? What could go wrong? We had a good year last year.
Go wrong.
We had a good year last year.
That's the problem.
What do you mean? You're the only one that I've ever come across that sees, hey, we had a good number. We had podcast was up, listenership was up, revenue was up, and you're like, oh my goodness. It's interesting.
I need a guy. I think that's if I had a guy or a girl, a guy,
a person.
Yeah. I mean, a woman could be a guy. The guy.
That's true.
I got a guy who's got a guy, right?
Dudes and guys are just very non-gender specific.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. That's what I mean.
I'm with you on that.
I need a guy who just is my tax, Lewis and Clark, Sacagawea. I need a tax Sacagawea.
A Sherpa, if you will.
Well, they can't do our taxes.
That's right. They don't do our taxes. That's true.
So
they keep us humble.
They help our business.
That's right. They keep us humble when Sam contacts you. He's like, what was this line item?
Sherpa Collaborative is essential to what we do as business. There's no doubt.
No doubts. No doubts.
But we need, I just like saying Sacagawea. I need someone to be like, all right. And I mean, like, you got to imagine like Sacagawea out on the trail, Lewis and Clark. You got to imagine like she was like, this may not be by the rules, but we're about survival, right? Like we're trying to get to the end of the continent, right? Like we're trying to navigate. Like sometimes you gotta skip a mark here. You gotta fudge a little bit outside the lines. Like, I got a feeling that was Sacagawea. That's how she survived. I need those instincts. That's what I need.
Tex Dundon. I'm sure he has a guy.
I'm not in that bracket though, so maybe that's the problem. When you're not in that bracket, you can't afford the premium Sacagawea.
Can you imagine if Tom Dundon did connect you with his guy, and then he took a look at the OG Media LLC books, goes, Tom wanted me to do what now?
You can't afford me. Well, wasn't that Noah? No, Seth. No, what's the guy's name in Wolf of Wall Street?
I never saw the
fake
movie.
Teeth.
Yeah, I know, but I never saw the movie.
No. But the actor, he's fake Seth Rogen.
Oh, it'll come to me. But yeah, I know what you're referencing.
His weight always fluctuates.
Yeah.
Oh, he's an odious character in that movie.
Okay, I'll have to go watch it one of these days. I'll have to watch it.
The worst.
Speaking of odious, the SEC is always odious, rather than just accepting, hey man, you're one field goal away from having no teams in the semifinals of the college football playoff. They want to take
one like actually called correctly.
True. Yeah.
Jonah Hill is the actor who I'm slandering right now.
Jonah Hill. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Thank you. But yeah, the college football playoff fires back up on Thursday. That kicks off 5 days of postseason football, Joe. Thursday through Monday, between the college ranks and the NFL ranks.
I was saying we're just going to lump them all together.
We're all lumping them together. Well, it's interesting you bring that up because they are kind of lumped together. So you got Notre Dame and Penn State on Thursday, Ohio State and Texas on Friday night. But I saw this. Was it John Orand of Puck had Rich Clark, who's now the new Hancock, the guy who's in charge of the college football playoff, right? And in that podcast appearance, he talked about television ratings, and they went up against the NFL. So SMU versus Penn State was the early game, and then Clemson, Texas was the later game, and they happened to go up against an NFL doubleheader. I think it was like Kansas City and Houston was one of those games right before Christmas. And they got doubled up. I think the SMU Penn State game got like 6 million viewers, just roughly about. I think the Texas Clemson game got around 9, which makes sense. It's a better matchup better teams.
The night game that was by itself, how did that do?
That I don't have the number. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I was just looking specifically for the 1-to-1 match, the head-to-head. So the NFL games got like anywhere between 15 to 17 million, whereas the college games got anywhere between 6 to 9. Nice.
Okay.
So but that would make sense. So now Clark is talking about, another quick context. Those games were sub-licensed to TNT. They were not broadcast, right? So that stuff kind of factors in. So they've been kicking around the idea of moving off those windows that would interfere with what has traditionally been NFL Saturday doubleheaders once the college season is over.
Okay, so the night game, which was a standalone, that night, the Ohio State Tennessee was the highest rated of the opening round games, 14 million.
Okay, there you go.
The Notre Dame standalone, the previous night, 13 million. So that Notre Dame, just by being at night alone, even though it wasn't all that good of a football game, doubled the audience from Penn State SMU, which was also that Saturday noon window.
Yes.
So, okay.
All that makes sense. So there's been some talk of moving those doubleheaders that would go up against the NFL to Friday night, to a Friday night doubleheader, keep the noon game, and then just go from there, right? Which I guess that makes sense. But here's the thing about...
There's no reason to keep the noon game, but I get Fox Fox is not involved, so...
No, Fox isn't involved. It's TNT.
Fox loves that noon window.
They do.
That's like their thing. That's their jam.
They do, but also TNT is looking for windows as well. So that's another thing to keep in mind when they do the sub-licensing agreement. All I would say is this.
Say, by the way, isn't 8 million like better than pretty much anything not named an NFL game on television?
Right, right. And I think that's the part that bothers me right now is I get that the number has to go up. I understand that. But the NFL does not care about you. In this conversation that was taking place on Puck, the college football playoff executive director talked about how they had a meeting with Roger Goodell, NFL commissioner, and how Roger Goodell was very gracious and took his time. And Goodell's sitting here thinking like, man, I don't care about you. We do what we want to do.
Right.
So this idea of, we'll just move to Friday night, we'll be fine. What's to stop the NFL from going, you know what? I know what we'll do. We'll just do what we did the NBA. We're going to play games on Friday night too. Yeah. Because why not? The NFL is going to put games wherever they can make the most amount of money on. That's why they have a random, like look at the Christmas run, right? You had games on Christmas. You had a game on Thursday, a game on Friday. You had a Black Friday game, Saturday, Sunday. And it's like they're okay with completely diluting their product because the numbers keep going up. Even blowout games like Detroit, Minnesota. Do you see the rating for that on Sunday night? They're like 28 million people. So people are willing to watch bad NFL football in copious amounts. So
I wonder why that is.
Gambling, perhaps? Not 28 million people are gambling, but that's neither here nor there. My curiosity, though, is, or what I would argue is, if you're a college football fan, you're going to find the college football games. You're not making this decision based on... You're not making this decision based on, well, I would watch Kansas City, Houston rather than this. No, you're going to watch the college football games. So my advice to all these other leagues, including the college football playoff, do you, man. Yeah. Just do you. Because the NFL does not care about you. So just hone in on what you think is going to be strong. Now that gets us to the SEC. And I was listening to the Yahoo Sports college football podcast with Dan Wetzel, Pat Forty, and Ross Dellinger. And you would have to imagine that only having one team from the SEC in the semifinals is not ideal. They probably don't like the seeding either. And I thought this exchange with Wetzel and Dellinger was interesting as to how things are going to play out this offseason when they go back to the room and try to figure out the format for the college football playoff.
Undoubtedly, the SEC was the number one conference in college football. Undoubtedly. They had the best teams. They had the best players. They had the most draft picks. They won the championships. They blew people out. They were undoubtedly the best. And it's not that the SEC won't have great teams again or win the national champ. Texas could. And I know they're kind of new to the league, but, you know, the SEC will be okay. But what kind of weight can they carry in saying we deserve 4 spots in a playoff?
I think you're right, Dan. I think there's going to be pushback against it. There was enough pushback against the 3-3-2-2-1 model in the spring for it to stop, for the conversations to stop. And the Big Ten they just stopped talking about the format, right? And they made decisions on, all right, we're going to get the TV deal done and we're going to have guarantees to any future format. So they made the guarantees, but that's all they did because they couldn't get past the arguments on what the future will look like because there was so much pushback against the multiple AQ deal. But really, in certainly we talked about this a lot. There's going to be pushback, Dan, against changing the seating. So this is going to be it's going to be a really interesting meeting in Atlanta, whether they can get unanimity for an immediate change in the seating. And then I don't know why they would go along with a multiple AQ, although they might not have a choice there. But how far will the Big Ten and SEC go, right? How much will they push it?
They're not playing the hand they thought they would be playing at this point. That's for sure. I can't imagine you could get through significant changes that strongly disadvantage any of the stakeholders when you need unanimity. I think 1 year's playoff evidence is enough to be a disincentive to saying automatic bids by any numbers for anybody. I think you continue to just get the 12 teams with the conference champions. We would be using these hair splittings that we basically went through from the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th best teams and trying to make some firm declaration. Well, this league deserves this. I just think that would be silly.
So again, that was the Yahoo Sports College Football Podcast with Wetzel, Pat Forty, and Ross Dellinger.
I can't have more respect for Dan Wetzel than I do, but let me respectfully disagree with him. The SEC was the deepest conference this year. That doesn't mean they were the best.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. Some people don't like counting stats, but when you look at scoring offense, right?
Okay.
I like scoring offense.
Sure.
I get it. Like you could look at Indiana's schedule and parse it and do this whole thing. I get that as a premise, but as a general snapshot, how a team plays, what is their identity? Scoring offense, pretty good indicator of the quality of your team and the entertainment value of your team, right?
Mm-hmm.
We could agree on that. There were only 2 SEC teams in the top 20 of scoring offense this year. Two. Okay. Undoubtedly, the SEC will have more draft picks from the defensive side. There's just no doubt. I get that. Even Kentucky's got like 4 guys on their defense who are going to end up in the NFL.
Sure.
I understand that. But you see the failures of these teams. Let's start with Alabama, who couldn't move the ball against Oklahoma at the end of the year inexplicably, who couldn't outscore Vanderbilt in a game midseason after they had beaten a Texas team who, by the way, is very good on defense.
That was a different Vanderbilt team.
Sure. Look at Georgia. Georgia couldn't even move the ball on Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Right? And again, it was their backup quarterback. Their starting quarterback was even worse.
Yeah, I was going to say,
by the way,
it's not like Carson Beck had a great season.
Quinn Ewers absolutely should be benched by Texas. Texas's really only chance to win the national championship is for Arch Manning to be their quarterback. I mean, I'm just being honest.
No, I know.
Nick Saban would absolutely have benched that kid a long time ago. ago. So for me, one of the teams on this list is Tennessee. Part of Tennessee's scoring prowess was their running game. You know, Nico Iamaleava as a quarterback, he was the highest paid quarterback coming out of high school his year.
Right.
So it's not like they went about it the wrong way. They have a great play caller in Josh Heupel. Tennessee's offense, what was it worth by the end of the year? Because Iamaleava had the yips by the end of the year. They had to hide him by the end of the year. So I just look at this list. Ole Miss was the best scoring offense in the SEC. Well, Ole Miss lost to Kentucky. Ole Miss lost games that they shouldn't have lost by the end of the year. So I think the SEC was the deepest, no doubt. They have the most defensive talent, no doubt. But what is that getting them?
Well, so
what I'm pushing back on is, and this is a point I know I think it was one of the Barstool people has made, and it's been one of these repeatable points now. Like, and I get what they're saying, but like, isn't it funny now? Everyone gets to pay players above the table, and all of a sudden the SEC doesn't have an advantage.
Yeah, that's a real. I've seen that making the rounds too, and it's not that simple. I think it's dismissive of where we've been. As here's the real issue, and this is what I think the SEC is ultimately fighting against. Because I'm with you. Yeah. The SEC is the deepest because they have all the advantages that are going for them. You know,
just not on the offensive side of the ball. They don't have an accomplished offensive team. I mean, Ole Miss was one. And obviously they could not pull that thing into the barn.
But I'm reading Dan Wolken last week as I'm catching up on stuff from the college football playoff. And Wolken wrote over at USA Today, and this is the headline, SEC and its dear leader, which is a shot at Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner. SEC and its dear leader should accept reality. League no longer rules college football. Okay, right off the bat, I can tell you that headline is bullshit. because the SEC absolutely runs college football for a variety of reasons. They got the best television contract. They have all the markets that ultimately matter. They got the brands that make them national in combination with the Big Ten. There are two conferences that run college football, the SEC and the Big Ten. Hard stop. But it gets back to the Ross Dellinger point. They're the ones that are going to move. They're going to put the thumb on the table, the thumb on the scale to get what they want because they can. They got the biggest television deals. They got the biggest schools. They got the most talent, all that kind of stuff. I think what everybody's missing is not the NIL. And the NIL might help on some leveling of the playing field. No, what's happening here, and this is maddening to me because we started to see this evidence once we got away from the two-team BCS. The minute you start opening things up, you start to notice that the top-level teams from the power conferences, there's not that much difference from them when we start getting into true national title contenders. This goes all the way back to Clemson finally getting over on Alabama and people going, how is this possible? Well, Clemson finally has an opportunity to play Alabama on this stage. That matters. When you basically were removing other teams that had the opportunity to truly compete for a national title, and they had to get shipped off to an Orange Bowl or a Rose Bowl while the BCS title was taking place between these two computer teams down on the Sugar Bowl, well, how are you ever going to know?
Yeah.
So now the more you expand it out, I'm not trying to make a 1-for-1 for college basketball, which is a true random chaos generator. And all you need is five guys on a hot night to truly change the course of your school. Football is a little bit different. There's depth, there's attrition, there's coaching, there's all that kind of stuff. You actually just hit on another issue that is exposing itself. You don't have Nick Saban anymore in the SEC. You just highlighted a key difference between somebody like Steve Sarkisian, who's not benching Quinn Ewers, versus what we know that Nick Saban absolutely would have done.
In the championship game.
And his quarterbacks knew it. Okay? Dabo did it too.
Yeah.
All right?
For sure.
The point, again, to reiterate my point here, the bigger you make the pool, the more you expose the fact that your top teams, there's not much difference between the top teams. And we're seeing this play out in combination with other truisms in college football. Wow, the home team with 80,000 people ended up having a good night and they blew out the other team. Man, that just looks like regular season football to me. So sometimes I think we overthink stuff, or sometimes we oversimplify things like the NIL. Nah, man, this is just a larger pool exposing some realities.
Sure, but NIL is part of it. I mean, a Caleb Downs and a Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs in particular,
I got you,
does not end up at, he chose Alabama out of high school. Right?
Yeah, I got you.
And then his coach retires. He's like, I'm now going to the highest bidder. Like Ohio State winning would be like the Yankees, or it's the Dodgers. It's not the Yankees anymore. It's the Dodgers, right?
Sure.
Like, or whatever. And the NFL has a flattened surface there, but the Warriors,
Texas, by the way,
yeah, for sure. But to the SEC point there, where did Ohio State invest? Ohio State's defense is excellent for sure.
Sure.
But I want to see some of these skill players, some of these difference makers. You're not seeing them in Texas. You're not seeing them at Georgia. You're not seeing them in Alabama.
Yeah.
They have those defensive players, sure, but they don't have the Jeremiah Smiths. They don't have a Travis Hunter. They don't have a Skate Boo. That you're not seeing those difference makers on offense. And I think that's where the SEC has fallen down.
Now, speaking of going out there on the recruiting trail, NIL and everything else, Bill Belichick's on the recruiting trail, Joe. I
don't think there's ever been a coach in the state of North Carolina who's ever been able to get a 6'5" defensive end from, one of these towns in North Carolina that worships the blue and believes that God truly is a Tar Heel fan. No one has ever been able to pull that off. So I really hope this will happen.
Joe, he's going to put a fence around the state. So
everything that's old is old again.
I agree. Everything's a reboot, man. Everything's a reboot. So
but he's not really old because he has a 24-year-old girlfriend. Get it? See?
I see what you did there.
He's not old.
I want to thank everybody, and you were included in this, who sent me Bill Belichick's first tweet.
Yes.
So this hit me in all sorts of ways, and I've tried to process it best I can. So he tweets out at 1:18 yesterday afternoon, beat Duke, and he spelled it D-O-O-K. So he's all about that life, Joe. My first words as a boy. So we're going back to that joke. Got it. Cool. They're my first words on X. Go Heels. #Go Heels. #Chapel Bill. #Carolina football. Do you believe Bill Belichick actually tweeted that?
The great day to be a Tar Heel too.
Yeah, you're right. You do need that in there. You missed that one.
Yeah.
First and foremost, do you believe that was actually him?
I could see Bill Belichick with his hashtags. Yeah.
Okay.
That was him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. He then goes on Pat McAfee, as he usually does on a Monday.
Sure.
And I know you haven't seen this yet, so I'm prepared for your brain to break.
The greatest of all time when it comes to NFL head coaching and NFL general managing. Now he's the head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heel football.
Okay, first and foremost, hold up. Why? Just bring him on, man.
No, I mean,
you gotta cup his balls while you're at it too.
Pump him up,
tickle him a little bit. Like, what are we doing here? Sorry, Timmy Ann. Hopefully your teenager's not listening while I make that reference. I apologize.
All team, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Coach, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Good to be on. Yeah, we're Steve and I are out recruiting North Carolina here. First day we're allowed to be out, so here we are. We're on the road. Say hello, Steve.
Okay, so what up, DC Steve? How you doing, pal? Congrats on all the success.
I'm sorry. You got Bill. If you're watching on YouTube, Bill, you can see this. But if you're not, if you're just listening on the podcast, Bill's clearly in an Alexander Julian.
Yeah.
Okay. Clearly an Alexander.
Why he's with this suit and tie game?
Steve's out here in a thrift Carhartt pocket tee.
To each his own.
With the Patriots, you're the man. You're the man. Go Tar Heels. Coach, okay, so we're on the road with you. You're literally FaceTiming from a car. What are you doing? You're visiting high schools right now, or how's the day go for you?
Yes. Yeah, a couple this morning, a couple this afternoon. We're also on, I'm officially on Twitter. So, you can follow me there.
Oh, we definitely will. Bill Belichick, welcome to X, pal. Okay, you're on my face earlier. No, sorry. My face, whatever it was. Oh, jeez. Oh, wait. Pause everything there. Oh, my God.
Hey,
yo, the boomer energy here is off the charts. Let me tell you. Okay, let me explain to you what this energy is. Okay, and Joe, you're sitting there making a face, and I know you're thinking the same thing. Bill Belichick getting on Twitter in 2025 and everybody making a big deal out of it is like the equivalent of a legacy media publications columnist getting on Twitter in 2014 and making a big deal. It's like Rick Riley saying, "Here's my first." Rick, buddy, dude, like the time is come and gone for you making a big deal about you're on social media now. Like slow clap. You want to. I'm watching all this and I had two immediate thoughts. The first one is I continue to be right about how this is all playing out. Bill Belichick's adventure into college football is a national audience thing. This is not for the Tar Heels. This is not to make them better. This is about Bill Belichick and him being the main character on this adventure, right? Which gets to my second thought. How many NFL executives, how many other coaches, how many owners are sharing these clips and just laughing their ass off at, can you believe this guy and what he's now lowering himself to? He should be in the war room right now, making plans for an offseason. And now he's in a suit, in a car with his kid, driving around to various high schools, having to take pictures with recruits. That's his life now.
To piggyback on that point, the New York Giants went 3-14 this year.
Yeah.
Not only did they keep their coach and their GM, their offensive coordinator right now is being interviewed by multiple teams from a 3-14 team that checks notes had Daniel fucking Jones as their quarterback and Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
So the NFL is saying to you, not only do we not want you, greatest of all time, we would rather have Mike Kafka than you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that has to wound someone like that with an ego like that in their soul to the point where they have to get dressed up in a suit and ride around with their kid, because again, this is all about his kid.
Mm-hmm.
Because what else are you going to do other than to sit at home and ponder what life choices, where did I go wrong that NFL teams want Mike Kafka instead of me?
How badly did I treat everybody that nobody wants me? Nobody wants me. And again, I gotta imagine the NFL people are laughing their ass off at all this as he's got that dead look in his eye in a pose with a giant recruit and his high school coach doing this. Okay.
The New York Giants scored 273 points this year. They were the fewest in the NFL. Their offensive coordinator has gotten multiple job interviews while Bill Belichick is at the University of North Carolina.
Last point, I figured out why this bothers me so much. Why I'm so... I finally had this epiphany. Watching Bill Belichick adapt to what he has to do as an older gentleman to connect with what college football is today and the modern things and getting on social media and all the cringe that goes with it. It's the equivalent of when I would tell my kids, Skibbity, Ohio.
I don't even know what that means.
Low taper fade. Right? Like all those types of things. And my kids would be like, Dad, shut the fuck up. You're embarrassing me. Right? Stop. Just stop. Like what?
You're not cool, Dad.
Phantom tax? Like shut up. That is the exact feeling I have watching this unfold. Like, look at me. I'm on X now. Like, man, I can pull a conversation we had with David Cutcliffe back in 2012 about how he was sliding into DMs about recruits, man. Like, congrats.
You made it.
You made it. Here you are. Housekeeping. Big thanks to Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com. Green Cleaning Solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
We've got Bomani Jones coming to town January 31st. The Rialto. Get your tickets today. It's going to be the Basketball Jones. It'll be a lot of fun.
I need to get the calendar. My desk calendar. It's January.
Yeah,
I need to get a new one.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
I need to get some new cats.
Let's actually solve some issues here. So I pointed out actual housekeeping, so we might as well have yet another meeting. Let's have a meeting. So we have an after dark that we're scheduled to do after the NC State Carolina game on Saturday.
Yes.
The issue is that I've got Junior Canes obligations.
Okay.
Starting at 6:10 at Invisalign, so we got a little bit of a time conflict here. You said, hey, I don't know, maybe I'll get Paul. Maybe we can do that, right?
I'll just hold down the fort. Either one.
I mean, either way, you can hold down the fort. But guess what? Paul called
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Hey Giglio, you calling me from the bullpen? Hey, I'm loose out here, coach. Put me in. I got some takes. You let me know. Anytime, anywhere, I'll be there.
Paul's in. I knew the bat signal would
set him off.
Yeah.
Would set him off. All right. So we'll settle that. Big thanks to our friends at Breeze Through. You can check them out online. You can download their app. That way you can save money on gas. More importantly, you can get coffee. Right now, I'm in peak coming out of the holiday break. I am trying to get back on the school carpool schedule. I cannot wait for Caleb to start driving himself to school. It's going to be glorious when that happens. Glorious. But in the meantime, I need coffee. Breeze Through's got great coffee.
I got a State game Wednesday, Canes game Thursday, Canes game Friday. It's a lot of arena time for me. So go across the street, hit them up. You can always park over there. Great snacks, great beers, and of course, great dark roast coffee.
Big thanks to our friends at Whitaker and Hamer. Check them out online at wh.lawyer. Attorneys and counselors at law. They can help you out as a small business owner. Any personal needs, they've got you covered. And thanks to them, they will be with our friends at Shady's, the home of birthday party number 2.
Yes, the OG birthday bash.
Big thanks to Nature's Relief. As we discovered yesterday, Giglio is going to get some Nature's Relief. He's going to sip on a few Millies, and then he's going to dip hot dogs. As somebody pointed out on social media, Giglio is the hot dog king of Garner. He's going to dip some hot dogs and some ice cream too, Roosters, all because, hey, man, I'm just vibing right now. Why not? Go to naturesreliefhempstore.com. It goes beyond just things like gummies or pre-rolls. They also have alcohol alternatives, including wine. That's a very, very big deal. So check them out, naturesreliefhempstore.com. And of course, our friends at Home Field. It's cold, yo. So you need to stay warm. I'm going to be decked out in Home Field fleece line hoodies when I go to Minneapolis in the middle of February, because who schedules a hockey tournament in February
You
in
did.
Minneapolis. Me, I did. So I will be staying warm. You can too. Use that promo code OG24 to save 15% off your order. All right, here's my promise to you. We are not going to spend 38 minutes on the Carolina Panthers.
It was very thorough. I enjoyed it in this sense. I'm always telling you, like, it was very Jim Rome-esque. I like that. I like it when we go back and hit the hits, play the hits. I like that.
Well, look, I could I have done it a little quicker? Probably.
But why? Well,
But why
are you
not?
hurry?
What's the hurry? Let's just play this out. In fact,
Yeah.
I did hear from some listeners that had picked up on what you had picked up on after the Arizona game, related specifically to Bryce Young and the retconning of how the season was going to go. And that's why I wanted to do that yesterday.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it abundantly clear this was not planned. There was no design.
Oh no! I mean, it was great. They sat him down. He got a chance to look at the game.
No, this doesn't happen without the fluke instance of Andy Dalton getting in a car accident. And then, of course, as you also pointed out yesterday, I think everybody can agree, all the credit goes to Bryce Young for making this thing work at the end of the season, finally looking the part, which leads us to yesterday. Things are wrapping up. The vibes are good at Bank of America Stadium. Scott Fowler, love you, buddy. But hey, man, don't be yucking people's yum after a Week 18 thrilling OT victory. I read his column this morning, and he was kind of like, you would never believe that this was a 5-12 team based on yesterday's exit meetings. And I think what that kind of undervalues is how bad things looked at the beginning of the season, how bad things looked before they are off to Germany to take on the Giants. And if they feel good about the direction of this, let them feel good about it. Let them feel good about it. And I also think too, because I think his overall premise, Scott's overall premise, was after a 5-12 year, is it the smart thing to essentially bring everybody back? This includes the defensive coordinator in Evero. And my argument to that would be, let it cook a little bit, as the new saying that everybody is now dropping. Let the cake bake a little bit, because you haven't necessarily had that with the Panthers over the last couple of years.
Any kind of consistency,
no consistency whatsoever. So let's see what happens when you got a little bit of consistency, and what we've been asking for is actually happening. David Tepper is not getting in the way. Just let the cake bake.
Yeah, I also thought they made a good draft pick in Trayvon Wallace. I thought he was someone who helped them this year. Ashawn Robinson, getting him healthy and playing. I thought he had his moments. DJ Wunwum, I know that's not necessarily how you say his name, but the giant from Game of Thrones.
Right.
Played 8 games. Like, he was the kind of guy when he came in, I was like, oh. So when people were like, oh yeah, their defense was this or their defense was that. Yeah, I'm not disputing that.
Yeah.
But I thought there were points in pockets of health. The Kansas City game, like that stretch, the Giants game, that stretch where they were competitive and winning games. I thought, yeah, I mean, they gave up 22 points to Philadelphia. Like,
which, speaking of giving up points.
All mixed up, you don't know what to do. I guess we'll clarify and correct something or two. Cause you know what Joe is not the first or the last thing they've got wrong in the past.
Yesterday, I pointed out that the Carolina Panthers had a terrible, historically terrible defensive mark. It was total points given up in the season.
Which makes sense. It's a 17-game schedule.
Not per game. I believe that still belongs to the 81 Colts per game.
Oof.
But total points allowed, the Carolina Panthers now have the number one mark. As Dave Canales joked on Sunday, hey, at least we're number one in something, right?
Yeah.
Look at Mr. Positivity.
Point differential as well.
So there you go. So I want to correct that before we move on to the actual defense, because that was the main talking point coming out of the exit meetings. Here is Dave Canales when asked about the future of the defense, what direction he wants to go in. But before we start, Joe, look at that, man. Can you pull off a quarter zip like that?
No.
There's no way I'm wearing a white quarter zip for a variety of reasons.
It's not even like right now. We're talking all time. Like at any point on the gemstones of my timeline, can I make that work?
There's no way I would look good in that white quarter zip. But man, Dave Canales can make that thing look good.
Performance of the defense. Do you anticipate making any changes at the coordinator position?
Not right now. Ajero will be back with us as our defensive coordinator. We have a lot of things to evaluate, over the next couple of days, and then, certainly, into the offseason to reflect on our schemes, to reflect on our personnel, to reflect on the guys we have here going forward. And so, there's a lot of really important conversations, about all those factors. That'll be great to have.
Clarify, you said not right now, but will Ajero definitely be back?
Ajero will be our defensive coordinator next year.
Just, you inherited that defensive staff, and I think you talked at the time about the benefit of that. Would you consider making changes below Ajero, I guess is what
Those are all conversations that he and I have to have. And again, that's, day after the game, we just have to process all of it, from a schematic standpoint and all of it, and try to make sure we put the Panthers in the best possible situation.
So there you go. That was Canales with Evero and not making a move. I did catch Joe Person saying the right now. He caught that real quick nuance, which I thought was important. And this gets us to Dan Morgan, the general manager, who was asked to follow up on what Canales had said about the defense. And I think it was interesting that Morgan took some accountability for how things played out. And look, all last year was about we need some dogs. All right, well, now you have to go double up on that to make the defense better.
Yeah, I love EJ. I love his defense. I think it's a really good scheme. But again, I have to do my part as well. Me and my staff of putting really good players on the field and adding really good pieces to the defense. And, again, the young guys are developing on the defensive side of the ball. There's some young guys that, we're excited about there. And just some cornerstone guys that we have on defense too, that we're excited to get back with Derek Brown and JC. But Evero's scheme's really good. We're excited to have him back. And again, we just got to add pieces, keep developing the players that we do have. And, I think, things can turn around. We just have to put the work in.
So there you go. That was Dan Morgan yesterday.
Yeah. Remember last year, they used all of their draft capital on the offensive side to try to help Bryce Young. And I think for the most part, Bryce Young obviously played better once he got back into the lineup. But I think for the most part, if you would have to ask them, what would be one thing you would have liked to have had more of this year? You would have liked to have gotten almost maybe a cleaner look at Liggett as a number one, because you want to feel like going forward that you have that number one. Because what the Panthers did this year is they went from miserable, terrible, worst in the fucking league to now average.
Yeah.
And where it becomes really hard to become from average to good and good to great is you have to have difference makers. I think they have some of those fill in the gap type people, but you have to have hammers. You have to have difference makers. And that's where they're going to struggle a little bit because they swung. I'm not giving up on Liggett. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I would have liked to have seen a little bit more, right?
We had some rookie growing pains, injuries, usual stuff.
But you swung for Brooks, who got hurt again. It's probably not going to happen for that kid.
No.
Chuba, you're going to build around, again, a solid player, not necessarily that Saquon home run, game breaker, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now how do you find these other places, right? That's where Dan Morgan has to get to work. You can't be great without the fill in the gaps. So that's a positive step for them. But now you have to find those game breakers and those difference makers. And, there is no one secret formula for that.
And I'll close this portion of it going back to how we started and why I didn't really like I felt like Scott's column in the Charlotte Observer kind of missed that point of where the Panthers were before they got to 5-12.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have to recognize it was that bad that elevating yourself to just being, as the kids would say, to tie it back to low taper fade, mid. It's an accomplishment to get to mid.
I'm going to Google low taper fade now because I really am. It's like, are you getting a haircut?
I don't know. I don't even know what it means. I just have the kids talk about it. Did you find it? I think it's a ninja
Something
thing.
with ninja.
Yeah, it's a ninja thing, right?
All right. When I felt older.
It's the lightning
I already know my brother's listening to this. I probably, as you're hearing this, I'm sure I've already received a text from my brother saying, "Would you stop?" And I'll just hit him with, "What are those?" You know that one.
It's on TikTok. Ninja's iconic low taper fade explained.
Dude, I was in Target the other day, and there was a group of kids, broccoli boys, and you familiar with that? Mm-hmm. Like all the kids have the same, like all their hair looks like broccoli.
Oh, okay.
Like Caleb kind of has the broccoli thing going on here. So you got all these broccoli boys hanging around Target, and all of a sudden I just hear them randomly yell, "Low taper fade." I was like, oh, geez. It's brutal. All right. So other NFL news in the lightning round, which is brought to you by Sam Jones. Check them out in downtown Raleigh. With Sam Jones, you get your classic Eastern style barbecue, the barbecue that made me click. It went, aha, I get it now because of the crackling mixed in with the pork. It is fantastic. Great sides as well. What are you chuckling about?
Well, I was going to say barbecue beans and chips. I don't know.
Jets coaching search.
Hang on, let me take a sip of my coffee.
Take a sip of your coffee because the Jets coaching search it reads like a who's who of, I know that dude. Just remember some guys, to borrow a bit from Deadspin.
And no Bill Belichick.
As of this recording, we have Rex Ryan. These are coaches who have interviewed for the job, or people who have interviewed for the coaching job.
Speaking of playing the hits.
Rex Ryan. Ron Rivera.
No.
Yes.
Why would Ron want to do that to himself?
Because he's a coach. That's why.
No, Ron, don't do that.
They would eat him alive in New York.
No, just why would you torture yourself that way?
Because he's a coach. Josh McCown.
Okay.
Brian Greasy. Arthur Smith.
Brian Greasy's a coach?
He wants the job.
Okay.
Brian Flores. Well, we know he'll get interviewed. Matt Nagy. Bobby Slowick. Vance Joseph. Aaron Glenn. And Mike Vrabel.
Oh, a little reverse steal.
Maybe. The funniest headline, though, they interviewed Mike Greenberg for the general manager position. No, not that Mike Greenberg, but let's make this happen so we could get Greeny on Greeny content. That would be fantastic. Meanwhile, Adam Schefter revealed on...
Wait. Meanwhile, I'm still caught up on McAfee calling Bill Belichick the greatest general manager of all time.
I told you, dude.
You realize the Pittsburgh Steelers had a draft class where like 9 guys made the Hall of Fame out of like one draft, right? Like,
no. This is why people love McAfee, because he goes on there and he massages them. That's why.
The greatest general manager of all time.
I'm telling you, dude, it's cringy. That's cringier than me saying low taper fade. So Adam Schefter on Sunday Countdown said that there were teams who were contemplating whether or not to call the Steelers and see if they can make a trade for Mike Tomlin.
A trade?
Because I guess like this game against the Ravens is like a big like moment for Mike Tomlin and his coaching tenure. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine, so be it. But here's the problem, and it's something that Schefter figured out after I guess he said that on Countdown. It got people talking, and then I guess somebody hit him up and said, "Yeah, so we did kick the tires on seeing if we could trade for Mike Tomlin. Slight problem: he's got a no trade clause in his contract." I mean, it's not a problem. It's something that you have to work around,
right?
In that situation, so he just can't be traded to another team, obviously. So that's where we are with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. There's a lot of intrigue going into this Ravens Steelers games on multiple fronts. There's the Lamar Jackson Ravens. Can you actually do something in the postseason? Another great regular season. What happens in the postseason with Lamar? You've got the decision. I'm telling you right now, the decision to go to Russell Wilson over Justin Fields at the beginning of the year. It might come back to haunt Steelers and Mike Tomlin. I know the column is written. Oh, the column is written.
You're right. You're going to second. He will be second guessed.
He's going to be second guessed for that.
Yeah.
So just something to keep an eye on. Meanwhile, multiple sources, according to Adam Schefter, said that the Bears have sought permission to speak with Mike McCarthy regarding their coaching vacancy. Source tells Schefter that the Cowboys have yet to respond to the request. McCarthy's contract expires on Wednesday, but the Cowboys hold exclusive negotiating rights through January 14th. After that, McCarthy would become a coaching free agent.
Again, I've never won a Super Bowl. I've never even won a game in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
But it would absolutely just eat at my insides like acid that NFL teams are more interested in Mike McCarthy than me with my 6 Super Bowl rings. Like that would absolutely, like I would just cry in a room and I would like punch things and break things. And I would go through every stage there is, the anger, the grief, the denial. Like, I don't even know. Like, I'm getting irrationally upset at NFL teams being interested in Mike McCarthy
over Bill Belichick.
I'm getting upset about it.
But Bill looks like he's having a great time on the recruiting trail. A great time with his kid.
Time I hear that one, I come back to that. Really might be the best one.
It might be. Is this the best Star Wars crossover night for the Carolina Hurricanes? Hello. What do we have here? I like the Lando reference. This is a Brent Burns Chewbacca red Star Wars shirt.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good, man. Brent Burns with the beard, Chewbacca. I mean, not going to lie, I don't think I'm going to this game, but if somebody
What's the
happens, it is on the 23rd, I think. I just closed it out, but I think it's on the 23rd. But before that, we got Eric Stahl night coming up. We got the alumni game. Here is your alumni game roster. You got Bates Battaglia, Jesse Bolreese, Rod Brindamore. I saw Rod yesterday at Invisalign.
Nice.
I thanked him for the content. He looked at me like I had 8 heads. I go, yeah, you said after the game, we needed that one. And then he just goes, well, yeah, I mean, we kind of did that one. Anyway,
Cam Ward in net. Wow.
Tim Brent, Eric Cole,
Brett
Patrick
Etienne.
Eves. Yeah.
Whoa.
Chad LaRose, Steve Rice, who's the UNC, he's UNC's hockey coach now.
Yeah. Stahl.
Stahl's back, obviously. Derek Stepan, Brandon Sutter, Ray Whitney,
the magician,
Justin Williams, Mike Commodore, Tim Gleason, Hedekin, Sean Hill.
I would not
gruff
screw
look.
with Sean Hill, man.
Absolutely
That is not a person to mess with.
As Kelly always likes to joke about Sean Hill, you see Sean Hill, he looks like he's about to tell you, I'll see you in hell. Aaron Ward, and of course, Cam Ward in net.
Woo.
So that'll be that is a who's who.
Woo.
I like that. So anyway, Canes are back in action tonight. Rare road game in February. A rare road game in February.
January.
I'm sorry, January. What month is it? I don't know what's wrong with me, man.
Got issues.
I do have issues. So do hockey players. Apparently, with the Penguins in town. I need more coffee. With the Penguins in town over the weekend, Marc-Andre Fleury and Sidney Crosby ended up in the same hotel in Raleigh. I guess they were over at the Renaissance in North elsewhere.
Yes. Thanks to Brendan, our sleuth on the streets for us.
This is from BR Open Eyes. Sid snuck into Fleury's hotel room and moved furniture around during the Wild's morning skate. Fleury stole Sid's equipment bag and put Vaseline on the visor, laced up his skates backwards, and put beef sticks in his jock strap. Here they are, just kind of hanging out.
Feels like a waste of beef sticks, but
you know what my first thought was when I saw this? Joe, can you identify the difference between 13-year-old hockey players and grown-ass adult hockey players?
37 in the case of Sid.
Can you tell me the difference?
No.
There is no difference. It's like the Office meme. Corporate needs you to tell me the difference between these two things. They're the same thing to me. There's no difference. 13-year-old, 37-year-old, still doing the same stuff. I absolutely love it. Of course, don't tell my kids that because then they'll think it's just like hilarious and whatnot. All right, next up in the lightning round.
Topics, stack it up. Giglio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do. A lightning round.
For the record, we're both row-backing it up today.
We are.
Not just Giglio.
Very proud of you.
Did you watch Raw last night on Netflix?
I did not. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't turn my TV on unless it's a sporting event.
Well, that's why I turned my television on last night. Because I opened up my phone. I saw that, oh, yeah, that's right. Tonight, Raw debuts its new era on Netflix.
Yeah, and I still kind of follow wrestling, though, so I know there's like a whole John Cena retirement thing that's
They're
about to
doing a
happen.
farewell tour, yeah.
And then I know that The Rock is supposed to come back and actually win the WWE title from Cody Rhodes to continue that storyline.
Something like that,
so
yeah.
that The Rock and Roman Reigns can eventually wrestle against each other.
And there was some match between Roman Reigns and I forgot the other guy. Because the reason why I turned into Raw last night was twofold. One, I wanted to see what the Netflix presentation was.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about this a little bit more on OG on Business. Me and Dimitri are going to talk about this week as part of OG Fans. And Netflix, I got this one wrong. I'll admit I got this one wrong. I thought that Netflix would never get into the live sports game because their whole thing was catalog. get you on there, keep you there, and you never have to worry about this ephemeral stuff. But Netflix now, again, I always forget, line must go up. You must always grow. So they now look at sports as the last piece of the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet that makes you never leave the app. Never, ever, 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 ever leave the app in a place where big events occur. Okay.
Guess what else they get to do?
What else do they get to do?
Sell ads.
That's the other thing. That again,
I love it.
I forgot. Nothing's ever free.
No, but
you're already paying $15 a month, and then you're also getting ads on top of that.
There's only one model that works.
Ads.
This media thing.
I know. I know.
Hey Joe, you can start your own media company. Guess what you have to do?
Sell ads.
Well, I don't know. I'll try to come up with something new. We're gonna sell ads.
We're gonna sell ads. Yeah, man. Reinventing the wheel here. No new ideas.
If only.
So sure enough, that was kind of weird. Obviously during the NFL game, they had ads. And then I'm watching Raw last night. I'm like, oh yeah, look at that. In between matches, they were having ads. Oh, okay. Interesting. So more ways for them to make money. But the other reason why I wanted to tune into Raw is because I've been on a bit of a nostalgia kick with the WWE after watching the McMahon documentary on Netflix.
I do want to watch that. Yeah.
It's worth it. A lot of these sports documentaries are crap these days. I mean, we had our golden run of 30 for 30s. It culminated with The Last Dance. Everybody's been trying to chase that high since. It has not matched it. But the McMahon one is really good to the point where it honestly made me sad for Shane McMahon. All that man ever wanted was a hug from his father. And it took him destroying his body in a wrestling match for him to finally get a hug from his dad.
Okay.
It is depressing to watch. Very depressing to watch. Regardless. It got me back in my feels of watching the Attitude Era of the WWE, that late 90s, early 2000s, peak Rock, peak Stone Cold, peak Undertaker, D-Generation X, all that kind of stuff. And I thought the WWE did a very good presentation to start Raw by giving you almost like a 5-minute, here's how we got here history lesson about wrestling. It was very well done. But, and this kind of was hit on the McMahon documentary about how they've gone through changes to reflect what the audience wants. And yeah, in the 90s, they were pushing the boundary, stuff that you could never do today. You never do this stuff today. And again, it's just one, they're bringing out the stars.
Including just having everyone beat the shit out of Stephanie. Like at every turn.
Dude.
Like
it wasn't even just, it was super, super problem. I mean, at one point they talked about killing a guy's dog and serving him up as Chinese food.
Right.
My kids discovered in watching Raw last night, like, didn't The Rock get in trouble once for like saying, do you want me to say it in Chinese for you?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, why? And they looked it up on YouTube. They're like, yo. I go, right, dude. It's a different time. Regardless, the time now, and those who have been watching the WWE a lot longer than me can tell me I'm wrong on this, but this is the impression that I got. The Rock came out, cool. All he did was pump the tires of the audience. Nothing was really said. Didn't really advance any sort of storylines. Cool. John Cena comes out. It was this big, weepy, farewell tour stuff. Thank you, fans. Blah, 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 blah. They can see you now. All this stuff. All right, where are we going? Where's the storyline going here, right? The Undertaker came out. There's Rhea Riddler, who's pretty badass.
Rhea Ripley.
Dude, she's badass.
Some respect on Rhea Ripley.
I get this. I have not watched.
Sir.
I have not watched. So I'm watching Rhea Ripley wrestle.
Sir.
And I'm like, oh, do I have a new favorite wrestler? I think I do.
Yes, you do.
I do. So Rhea's crushing it. I thought that was entertaining. And then I hear the bong. Here comes the Undertaker. Oh, what's the Undertaker going to do? He just went around the ring in his Harley. That was it. While Kid Rock played. It was like, oh, okay. So I understand it was a little bit of a reset. Am I going to get Raw back into my routine? I might. Just for Rhea, honestly. Just saying. So that was my experience with Raw. I might be back. Oh, and CM Punk is back. I didn't realize CM Punk was back. Because that was the last time I truly engaged with the WWE. Was when the Summer of Punk, when he broke the fourth wall and was just exposing everything. I was riveted by what he did. So yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, CM Punk is back. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll check in next week. As we mentioned, we are rocking the Rowback today. I have been getting questions about the OG specific Rowback merch that we have. I've seen a couple DMs. I've seen a couple emails. I've seen a couple comments. The question is, will there be another run, Joe?
There will be.
Okay.
You just give us a little minute to gather our thoughts and prayers. Let's think about the birthday. How about that?
Okay.
We'll plan something around that first weekend in May.
I like where your head's at on that one. In the meantime, go to rowback.com, use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. May I suggest you get the performance tees, especially now that you are going back to the gym because we've told you to go back to the gym, not because it's January. Not because everybody's made resolutions or intentions. No, it's like, hey, maybe you should go to O2 Fitness.
So much more than a gym.
I heard on the OG that people go to the gym in January. We should really go to the gym in January.
But it's more than just that. Renew Physiotherapy, Loop Nutrition, because eating right also matters here. In fact, with O2 Fitness, they partner with Loop Nutrition and our friends over at Happy and Hale.
Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
It is officially Happy and Hale season for me. I need the roughage. I need the smoothies. I need to essentially detoxify what I did to myself the last month between Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. So you can do the same thing. Head on over to Happy and Hale because you're not giving up on quality, tastiness, all that stuff when you go to Happy and Hale. Download the app to make things super, super easy for you. Just like our friends at Hometown Realty can make it incredibly easy to buy and sell a home with confidence. So contact them today. Go to myhtr.com. You might be bursting at the seams post-holiday. You need a room for all of the vinyl that you got for Christmas. You need room for all the rowback that was given to you by your family. You need a new closet. Well, you can tell that to Hometown Realty, and they can find you some new construction to make that work. So contact them today. We got hoops tonight. I know you're going to the State Notre Dame game tomorrow, but tonight we've got Duke Pitt, which is a rare opportunity for an ACC team to beat Duke this conference season.
Whoa. At Cameron?
At Cameron. I've seen it before, dude. We saw it last year.
Yeah, it's fair.
Saw it last year, man.
I don't think it's coming home.
Yeah, maybe not.
Clemson is the game they lose.
Okay.
Down there.
Yeah. And we got North Carolina, SMU. Duke and Pitt, I want to talk about Duke Pitt tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I want to see what we see at home against a very good ACC squad in Pitt. Okay.
Yeah, I think Pitt's an NCAA tournament team.
Seth Tremble should be back tonight for the Tar Heels.
They play SMU.
And they play SMU at home at 9:00.
They need that one.
Oh, they absolutely, well, just like they needed to not do anything dumb against Notre Dame. And we're one big three from Elliott Cadeau, 4-point play.
You're getting into the weeds again.
Well, that's what happens.
Boo.
What?
SMU dropped the 43 in the net.
Okay.
Duke. See? Duke always trying to ruin it for everybody.
What is that? What I was going to say, at home against a 43, that doesn't do many good.
It's not Q1.
Yeah, if they were on the road, it would be a Q1 then.
Correct.
Okay. Correct. Okay. All right, then we just enter into the don't do anything stupid category of North Carolina.
Florida State did move up to 75. So
very nice. I guess my question for Carolina, now that we've gotten away from the Notre Dame game, are we doing the thing where that's something they're going to build off of, or is it really just this is what North Carolina is?
Well, how do you know what they are?
I think I know what they are. They're a small team that really needs to outshoot the other team on a night in, night out basis because defensively, they're not going to be consistent enough or good enough. It's just not there for them. I guess the real question for tonight is how much of a difference is Seth Tremble in this lineup to doing what Hubert Davis wants to do?
Okay.
That's another question that I guess we'll get some sort of answer to tonight. Also, while Seth Tremble's been out, we've also seen the emergence of Ian Jackson. How does that start to roll into what Hubert Davis wants to do with this lineup? So I do think that North Carolina is very intriguing. I don't want to get into the hyperbole that I've seen through like Field 68 or some other basketball knowers and how they're going about North Carolina. I just don't know. I guess what I'm asking is there something that Hubert Davis can really do with this lineup, or you're just hoping and wishing and praying when the ball's on the court, everything's going to go in?
Going back to the first year with Manick, their lineup wasn't unlocked until February.
Right.
So now you bring up a great point about Ian Jackson. Now, I think Ian Jackson should be the bus driver of this team, and he has shown an ability 15 games in. That's what I'm getting at. Like, you went into the year thinking, okay, here's what we have to be with RJ Davis, Elliot Cadeau, and we need Jalen Washington to take a step up, which all three of those things have not gone right for them. Okay. So now here you are after 15 games, and after the last, 2 weeks, you're starting to realize, okay, Ian Jackson could be somebody who's a difference maker for us. Who is that hammer? Well, how do we remold? How do we reshape? And then you can't throw the other parts out. Manic got really good, but that doesn't mean you threw the rest of the team out. The other team coalesced around him and his leadership and what they were able to do. So that's what Hubert's challenge is in front of him. That's why I say it's 15 games. Yes, I agree with you. They have shown us a pattern of falling behind, scrapping and trying to win and doing all those other things. Mm-hmm. Yes, I get that part of it.
Well, in the case of the Notre Dame game, they had a lead and then gave that up.
That was the other way.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying to you is you've made this point several times. For every year, you have a bunch of new parts. You're not going to really know about these teams until January and February and March.
I agree.
And they haven't, wrote about this on OG fans. They have enough on their resume right now that they've put themselves in a position to make the NCAA tournament.
Oh, I get it.
And I get it. That's not good enough for you.
I got it.
But,
no, I don't even think it's good. No.
But,
I got it. It's funny. I got a text from Nada who said you might hear an indignant OG Sports phone call to Giglio's point about Carolina's resume at this point in time. He's in wholehearted disagreement with Carolina being a tournament team.
Sure. But again, your wins matter. I'm not saying they're in the tournament right now. I'm saying they've put themselves in position.
That I agree.
That if they can beat Clemson and Pitt, if they can beat Duke once, they're in.
Yeah.
We've seen this before.
Yeah.
But I suggest if they can beat Clemson and Pitt and one other, maybe even Florida State on the road, it's going to give you enough Q1s that you're going to put yourself with that Dayton and UCLA that you're going to be in the tournament.
I wanted to add one last wrinkle before we get to the OG Gambling Syndicate to what I've said. And you're right. I have been very adamant about where we are with college basketball and allowing for teams to kind of come into their own.
Why is this different? That's the part I'm confused about.
So the reason why I think it's a little bit different with the Tar Heels is that there is just sometimes the makeup of a team. It's one thing to be like, hey, I've got the constructed parts. Now I'm just waiting for them to actually click and work. The issue with North Carolina is size. Straight up size.
Sure.
You cannot fix size.
Who else has size? Duke. That's about it. In the league.
In the league?
I mean, Wake does, but they barely even play Efton Reed at this point.
I know.
So it's not what I'm getting at is, I mean, just have a little bit of patience.
Okay. Let's see. What do we have on DraftKings? North Carolina, 9 o'clock. SMU, they are money line at minus 285. Minus 6.5 is minus 108. Ian Jackson, plus 15 points is minus 750.
SMU's best player is Boopy Miller, just so you know.
Because the ACC is just one big family at this point.
Yeah, I think Carolina covers something.
You know what? I think Ian Jackson points 25 plus is plus 180.
SMU never got the welcome to the ACC moment in football because they just had better or equivalent talent to everyone else.
Yeah.
But they just lost to Duke. That they're getting the full treatment here of, hey, you got your ass handed to you at home by Duke. Now guess what?
You get
to go to Carolina.
You know, I'm trying to see. I don't know enough about SMU. I mean, look, I'll just be honest with you. I don't know enough about SMU to tell you who
I
it
just
is.
told you Boopy Miller's their best player.
But but the way it usually works, if you're a Tar Heel, I'm going to tell you who is the random white guy who hasn't been hitting threes all season that's going to dot him tonight.
Matt Cross.
Is it Matt Cross?
Who's been at two other ACC schools, Boston College and Miami?
Yeah, Matt Cross. He's a senior. Right now, he's got an effective field goal rate of 58.2. So I don't know if he's necessarily. Oh, let me look at Matt Cross's. Let me look at his games so far, because I think that's kind of important when we talk about these things. So I'm looking at all right, Matt Cross. Can I get the dang? Here we go. Here's his game data. So he was 2 of 7 against Duke, 2 of 5 against Longwood, 3 of 3 against Boston College. You know what? Do I have Matt? I do have Matt Cross points. I got Matt Cross points. I'm gonna put $5 down on 15 plus points. $5 gang, $5 plus 15 points is plus 250. bet has been placed. $5 gang.
I misspoke. He began his career at Miami, transferred to Louisville, then UMass, and is now at SMU. A true ACC legend.
Now, we're here talking about hoops. All good. You know, we're all in on some ACC hoops, but it's also playoff time. College football playoff, the NFL, and DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Touchdowns, that's the fun part. You can score big by betting on them with DraftKings, and the number one place to bet touchdowns. So if you're ready to place your first bet, try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make that pick. Just like I made it real simple. You know what? I think Matt Cross is going to score more than 15 points tonight. Boom, $5 down. New DraftKings customers who use the promo code OG24. You bet $5, you will get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use that promo code OG24. That's OG24. New customers get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Every time we have a new corporate champion, we invite them to OG Media LLC headquarters, the palatial studios here at Eford Studios, and the Donnelly team is here. Brian and Julie, Keller Williams, thanks for jumping on board with us. Now, I understand home realty. You want a house. You see the house, or you want to sell your house. Here's what we got. Commercial real estate seems like a completely different beast when we're talking about trying to find spaces for what you need.
It is a completely different animal. In fact, Julie and I, we've bought and sold homes, and we actually hire professionals who know what they're doing because we don't understand residential real estate. And that's kind of the case. Commercial is a completely different animal, completely different variables, different paperwork, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Different paperwork. Joe loves paperwork.
Yes. Way less paperwork.
You know that Brian and Julie are good at their job because when they walk in the Eford Studios, they're like, if you need a bigger space, I can help you with that.
As we cram into our little 10 by 10. They're like, what is going on?
You can't even fit 4 people in this room. So I'm just saying, if you want to call us 616-8681,
I couldn't help myself.
You can. you can give us a call.
But it's very quaint in here. It's very nice. And it's very soundproof.
Yeah, there are some other issues to going bigger though, but that's kind of what you guys do though. I know our mutual friend here, PK Shear, with his law firm, like you guys originally had helped him, and it was a one space, and because they were just getting started, but then he comes back to you guys and says, "Hey, I kind of need a bigger boat."
Yeah, and that's how the conversation started. Is that he was thinking about going on his own. I need somebody to help me. I mean, he's got more important things to do, like run his firm.
Yeah.
And open his new business because it was a new business. And Julie and I really took the reins. Yep. And
we have the website up here, trianglencommercial.com. But I feel like you're more of a phone person, Brian.
I am a phone guy. I'm old school. I got brought into the business by an old veteran 14 years ago, and he was a phone guy.
Okay.
And one of the best lessons I learned from him was pick up the phone.
See, this is where you and Joe can get along. He is a phone guy as well. My voicemail even says, text me. Just text me.
You and Julie get along great.
It's just easier. But, Joe will come into the studio. He's got his AirPods in. He's on the phone yapping. In the old space, you would play golf. You'd be putting. You'd be putting while on the phone, connecting with people. So that's more your speed. But but that sounds like you have something for everybody. You got a yapper? Brian's got you. You just want to text? Julie's got you.
Yeah, I deal with the younger folks.
That's right. So is Bill Belichick. He's dealing with the younger folks now. He's learning all about social media and texting now.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a Carolina connection here. Brian went to Duke, Julie is State. So they're kind of on our team. So I like that.
But real quick, I'm not the typical Dookie.
No.
I played soccer at Duke. I would walk down campus with my Duke soccer sweatpants and my UNC sweatshirt.
Oh, okay.
He said the girls were prettier at UNC.
And state.
No.
I wouldn't have stayed after we got
I see what you did there.
Good save.
I was having Matt Doherty flashbacks all of a sudden in the huddle.
Cheerleaders.
Talking about the cheerleaders.
Well,
I was having a flashback there for a second.
Well, yesterday we were fired up about the standard of Carolina basketball. And Joe, in true radio form, saved it by the real standard in commercial real estate, the Donnelly team, KW.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I was getting mad at him, and he was like, "Well, okay, we'll bring this down a little bit.
Time to eject."
Yes.
So before we say goodbye, and we appreciate you jumping on board and giving us a go and our audience, and this is a very specific thing. Right?
It is.
It's a very specific thing. And so I just want to reiterate what exactly, if somebody's got questions, what exactly, I joked about it would be great to have a warehouse space to store and rotate all the moving museum essentially we're creating in the studio space. Or I joked with Joe, I bet you he would love a refrigerated warehouse space to store all the Two Roosters as a greatest hits. I want to go back to that peanut butter cookie. Yes, here it is. Looking like Indiana Jones in the warehouse, right?
Yes.
I got all my Two Roosters and your hot dogs from Butcher's Market. So if you've got specific warehouse needs like that, these are things that you guys will tackle.
Yes, we'll help with buying or leasing. Leasing is honestly the lion's share of our business. So if you need help, if you're a tenant, you need help finding a space. That's what we're here for.
Okay.
And the landlord does pay our fees, so it's free service typically on the tenant side.
We hate using the word free, but typically landlords.
I believe the if I learned anything in marketing, it's included.
Yeah,
Not free.
It's not free. It's included.
Our services are included by the landlord.
I'm not sure we have enough time for you guys to answer this question, but how has been, obviously during the pandemic, a lot of people left downtown. A lot of people were no longer required to go to work. How has been the uptick since in the last few years? Is it coming back?
Yeah, it's been insane in
Good.
the Triangle. We're one of the top markets in the country. And retail is we have the lowest vacancy rate in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty interesting. So big office is still hurting, but everywhere else is booming.
Yeah. I see it. I see it over in North Hills all the time. It's new construction going up. You got places going in, all that kind of stuff. And we're seeing a lot more uptick here in downtown as new businesses are coming in. And you can be part of that. You guys can help that out. So call 919-616-8681 or go to the website triangleNCcommercial.com. The Donnelly team, we appreciate you joining our team as a corporate champion. And hopefully people will be hitting you guys up and making some things happen.
Well, thank you for your time. This is
thank you.
great. Love it.
So would you have a warehouse with nothing but Two Roosters?
Yeah, the blueberry lemon this month.
A whole warehouse of those.
It might be better than the peanut butter cookie, which is the gold standard.
Ken, shout out to Ken. He's always all right, so what's the greatest flavor that's ever happened this month?
Ken came with me and had it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So go to tworoosters.com. You can find out their rotating flavors. You can be part of the Secret Pint of the Month Club. And with all the home games in January.
You can be part of the secret.
Yeah, you can. All the home games in January.
It's a secret.
Over at Lenovo Center. Head on over and get that Slave and Sunday.
It's got to be the best deal in the arena, right?
Has to be. So good that I power through. So head on over to Two Roosters. Go check them out. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market, where Joe Giglio also has a warehouse of hot dogs.
I think I got about 40 left.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Well, then why don't we... Oh, man. Why don't we do something with that?
Okay.
You want to come over this weekend and grill up some dogs?
Can't this weekend. We got Saturday football.
Talking Sunday.
Basketball. Sunday, man. Sunday's in play.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a hockey game in the morning, but we ain't doing anything in the afternoon. Just want to come over and grill up some dogs?
Yeah.
All right. Do that. Have our kids awkwardly not interact?
Yeah.
And just randomly say things like skibbity to each other?
or low
taper fade.
Taper fade.
Anyway, go to the butcher's market and load up on your hot dogs, ham biscuits too. Have you not had?
You find the random like
have you not
other
had,
items?
So you have not had the ham biscuits yet?
No.
Okay, then I'll go get the ham biscuits.
Okay.
And then you can have that.
It's a deal.
Make that work. And then both Kelly and Jess can complain about how you and I are in full sports mode and never see us. Yeah. So that could be fun. So go to thebutchersmarkets.com. It's like the time. It's like the time me and Beard were, I think we were in Minneapolis and we grabbed lunch at this like really hole in the wall burger place. And Beard just goes, all right, proof of lifetime. You know, it's not like we could be, he's like, all right, here's a picture. Boom. Here we are. So anyway, go to the butcher's market. We'll make that thing work with all the hot dogs. Big thanks to our friends at State Farm. Maybe you need hot dog insurance. Maybe Matt Davis can, like, look, I got a warehouse full of hot dogs. Can we insure this? Can Matt Davis come up with something?
Yes, he can.
I'm sure he can.
But you have to call 919-779-8277.
And of course, our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. You want to make sure that those critters are staying away from your hot dogs. You don't need that.
You already have critters in the dogs. Let's be honest. You don't need them getting after your dogs.
So go to bugsbite.com and you can bundle and save with our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Speaking of powering through, big thanks to Mindy, who sent this to me via Instagram.
My stomach is active, but I mean it's really bubbling because I ate ice cream. I need to find a bathroom. I'm about to go boom and I need to scream. I can't wait till later. Need some toilet paper and a magazine. It's gonna take a minute cause I'll be out in it till Halloween. Oh no.
Power through, baby.
Well, no, you like ice cream. That's the problem.
I know. That's why you got to power through.
Well, his lyrics there didn't.
I know. But it's lactose intolerance is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But as we discussed, two roosters. Absolutely.
Oh, the non-dairy flavor this month is a good one. You need to hit it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go check it out.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's a long leaf trip in my future at this point. So I'll go to the Percy Street location.
Oh, is the Brookio.
Ooh.
The cookie brownie.
Right.
You know, that's the one. Yeah, that's a winner.
I'm in.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, let's close out with these Hey Joes. Let's go to the sports phone.
I'm a day behind, I think, on the podcast. Ryan Day and his fucking beard. Awesome. I was waiting for someone other than me to call this fake ass, ridiculous, nice and easy fucking horseshit beard out. Way to go, Joe. Hell yes.
You and I have both been on this kick of Ryan Day, Ohio State coach, and like, dude, just shave it. Shave it, because it's not a full beard. And it's fine. Not everybody can pull off a full beard. I couldn't pull off a full beard until my late 20s. All right. I had the weird chin strap thing of like a bald spot right here, man. I got old. I started losing hair on top and it started going to my face. What are you supposed to do? And my ears. Regardless, the part that made it even worse is that he was out here looking like NWO era Hollywood Hogan. And it's like, what are we doing?
No, it's worse than Hogan because it's Zod from the Superman movies. Because Zod had like the patchiness and it was like
right.
Son of Jor-El, you will kneel before Zod. I cannot wait for Penn State to beat Notre Dame and Ryan Day gets to beat James Franklin for the national championship. Like wanking motion, eggplant, water emoji.
Now you sound like McAfee welcoming Belichick on.
Hey, OG, NC State moderator here, and I'm actually calling about the Carolina Panthers in the NFL. I am sick and tired of how soft the NFL is now. There's a rule change that was implemented this year that I just think summarizes how soft the NFL is. Why the heck did they change the kickoff rule where if you kick it out of bounds, you get it at the 25 instead of the 40? It doesn't make sense to me at all. Why would that be a thing? If you kick it out of the back of the end zone, they get it at 30. So why wouldn't you just kick it out of bounds every time? I don't get it. Clearly soft.
It's called lawsuits, not softness. There's a difference. There's a difference. They're not soft. They just are. They don't want to deal with the litigious nature of head injuries anymore. We've come a long way. Like we were talking about the WWE, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I mentioned Hollywood Hogan. I forgot that Hulk Hogan got booed last night because the audience was like, "You're terrible. So get the hell out of the paint," right? So I thought that was interesting.
Was he there?
Yeah, he was there last night too.
Oh.
I mean, he's looking old. He's looking rough. He is looking rough, right? The Rock had some gray in his beard too. I thought that was kind of funny. And anyway, I digress. The WWE, when they were talking about how the changes of athlete safety, entertainer safety, they stopped doing the chair shots to the head.
Weird.
I wonder why. You telling me that Mick Foley jumping off the top of a Hell of a Cell into a broadcast table was like not great? You're concussed?
Yeah.
Right? I think it was, I forgot which wrestler it was that, it was The Undertaker talking about how at a WrestleMania, he was just straight concussed for the majority of the match. He didn't know where he was.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, lawsuits happen. It's not softness. It's just player safety. All right, let's get out of here on this one.
Hey, Joe, it's Kyle here. I was calling in with a little bit of a nostalgic piece after hearing y'all talking about bus drivers, but I'll get to that in a minute. I was listening, and I forgot what the caller's name was, but he was talking about the consistency of UNC, and then we hear you talking about the standard. But I think Giglio was just about to go there. Your standard is the standard until you don't want it to be the standard. They say that winning is the standard, but only if we can do it the right way. And we all know we get a good laugh out about UNC wanting to do it the right way, because how dare we clutch our pearls and they do things not the right way until they want to get away with something. But that's another whole topic for another day. But if we're going, I agree. If the standard's going to be the standard and winning is that standard, then absolutely they'd want to be with UConn. I'm a state fan. I would love to have what UConn won. Was the last year great? Absolutely. I love the run we went on. But if we're talking about winning, and winning is what we're here to do, then absolutely sign me up to be UConn. Anyway, I love how the standard is not always the standard. It is only that way when they're not winning, and now their standard is actually we want to win the right way. Sure. Okay. What I actually called in about is I keep hearing y'all talking about the bus driver, and I don't know if anyone else who grew up watching ACC basketball, but the old Alltel commercial with, just call me the bus driver because I'm going to take you to school. Beta! Can we make that an OG t-shirt? I don't think it's copyrighted, or I'm not sure how the infringement works. But it was an old Alltel commercial, came on during the old Jefferson Pilot, constantly during the ACC tournament. So, anyway, take that nugget with what you will. Y'all have a good day. I'll keep listening.
Yeah, that is actually the source of the term that I use. Yes.
Who was
they
it?
call me the bus driver kid because I'm about to take you to school.
Who was the player that was the former player that was the bus driver?
No, it was like a State Farm commercial. It was like
I get it, but they had like a former player doing it.
Oh, I don't remember.
I'm gonna have to go back.
I thought it was just a white jabroni that they had out on the playground.
I'm pretty sure it was a former player. I'll go back and double check on that one. I'll go
yes,
back.
That is the genesis of bus driver.
Now, the next T-shirt I think we're going to do with Breaking Tea, if we're going to go through Breaking Tea for the next T-shirt, will be a sports phone.
Yeah. Did I show you the unbelievable Natty Light neon sign?
I saw you posted it on social media. I saw that.
I've got our guys over at Color Graphic potentially working on something.
We don't have
subbing OG sports phone for a Natty Light.
What do you mean?
So,
whoa! We're not messing with the jingle, are we?
Jingle? No.
You're talking about a shirt for the sports phone.
Yeah, or anything. Like I'm just I just like to spitball. You know, Glenn over at Color Graphic and Ben from Roback are both amazing. Like you and I have, okay, your side passion is design,
It's
right?
terrible.
Yeah, but like these two guys have legitimate.
They're legitimate
skill.
Yeah.
So like if you were to say to them, hey, can you sub in this same font? And
Right.
and they're like, oh yeah, no problem. And I'm like, oh, you guys really should never help me because
now I got all sorts of ideas.
I'm just gonna keep making you do things for me. Yeah, here's the natty light
with the boat.
Yeah, I kind of want to just put OG Sports Phone in where it says natural light, like in that light in that font.
Okay.
You know?
Because the idea that I had was kind of riffing on the old sneaker phone from Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, but
you know what I mean?
It feels a little too esoteric at this point. Not that we aren't the kings of obscurity.
Hello.
Not that it isn't our brand. I just think that would be, and the boat means nothing. Like that's why I'm just kind of like,
I would sign off of that only if we have somebody in the boat on the
phone
with
yes,
a bag phone.
Yes,
like a Zach Morris special.
Yes. Let's do it.
Okay,
Ben, Glenn, please.
Yeah, if it's somebody in the boat with a bag phone, right? We had that, then I would sign off on it.
That's so ridiculous.
I would sign off on that. Anyway, here's to, I promised you a shorter show. Much like North Carolina promised you a younger coach. We gave you a shorter show. We'll see you tomorrow.